Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. So, as if you're a Beatles fan, you probably know that there's going to be this Beatles biopic coming out. I think I read in 2028, and it's going to be four separate films. One based on John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. And these are the actors that they've picked to play the roles. You can easily find their names online, but I was too lazy to to do it myself. So as you can see, there's right beside Paul is the actor that's going to be playing Paul McCartney, and below is George, and beside him is the actor that's going to be portraying George Harrison. And then the upper with John Lennon, and right beside him is John Lennon's, the actor that'll play him. And Ringo Starr, actually, when you do look at them, the only one that looks even a little bit like one of the Beatles is the actor playing Ringo Starr. And that's just probably because he has a slightly, large nose. But I'm not, and I'm going to show you, and this is with all due respect to the people I'm showing, but I feel I have better, maybe they're not actors, but they can learn to act. And I feel they would make much better Beatles than these four non-lookalikes. Because the ones I've chosen look much more like the, John, Paul, George, Ringo. And the other thing I want to say is, the Beatles biopic, I'm really not that excited about it. I'm not really a fan of biopics. The Queen documentary, or not documentary, but the biopic on Queen, it was well acted, of course, but I hate it when they change some of the history around and all that. And I would just, for all of these biopics, I would just rather watch a really good documentary. So now I'm going to show you who I feel should be the four Beatles in this biopic. They just need to learn, to act. Maybe some of them already are good actors. I don't know. So first up, for Paul McCartney, I think Elliot Roberts, who has an excellent YouTube channel, he does a lot of Beatles-related videos, I think he would make a superb Paul McCartney. Good-looking guy. He's kind of got the, Paul McCartney look. I believe he's British, so he's got the accent. And like I said, maybe he's not a great actor, but he can learn to act, right? So that's my first choice. Now, to play John Lennon, this is a little taking a bit of a chance, a little off the wall, but I still think it's a very good choice. Dave Grohl, yes. From the Foo Fighters, great guitarist, singer. The Foo Fighters aren't a band I'm a fan of, but I still, respect Dave overall, and he seems to show up everywhere. So why doesn't he show up in this Beatles biopic and play John Lennon? He's got the long hair, and for the earlier, I guess they're doing the earlier years, he'll need to get rid of the beard and mustache and cut his hair. But I think he, and put on an English accent, I'm sure he can, and get rid of all of those tattoos. And I think he would play a superb John Lennon. Now for George Harrison, this might have been the most difficult one for me to think about until I came across, this one YouTube channel that I'm seriously a fan of. I think this person has a great personality, has a sense of humor, like George Harrison. I think George Harrison was, pretty funny. Uh, all the Beatles were funny. But I think the perfect person to play him is. It's coming, don't worry. There it is. Yes, Stephen Schnee, the CD junkie. I, I'm Facebook friends with him. I was scrolling through his photos. I hope Stephen doesn't mind me grabbing this earlier picture of him. As soon as I saw it, it's like, that's George Harrison, right? In the mid 60s, got the same kind of hairstyle and everything. Stephen, I don't know if he's an actor or not, but, he'll have to learn, how to put on an English accent and, just kind of close your eyes like this. That's George Harrison. Okay. The last one, I think 100% should be playing Ringo Starr in this stupid biopic. But like I said, having these that look more like the Beatles, that's going to help the biopic to, because if it doesn't look like the Beatles, you're not going to believe, even how, no matter how good they act, you're not going to believe that is the Beatles on film. But you will believe it's Ringo Starr with this hopefully fine actor. Here we go. Yeah, Joe Mayo from Me Mr. Mayo's channel. He's a huge, Beatles fan, of course, but also a big Ringo Starr fan for his whole career. And he's kind of got, he doesn't have the big nose like Ringo does, but, I'm sure they can put makeup on and build up his nose. And not sure if Joe can act or not, but I don't know, I can just see Joe Mayo on the big screen playing Ringo. So those are my choices for who should play the Beatles in the Beatles biopic coming in 2028. I can't wait. That rhymed. So yeah, thanks for watching. I would love your thoughts in the comments section below. And also, seriously, or semi-seriously, let me know, if you're excited about this biopic or not. Because like I said, I just think I think no matter what, there's going to be, the Beatle fans out there, complaining about it. And I'm probably going to be one of them. So, but you never know. Maybe it will also draw in younger fans. So we'll see. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye. Don't sue me.